I would like to introduce a solution that will greatly accelerate your implementation of Boomi projects. This is a cloud application that does automatic migration, where you can import artifacts and generate Boomi components. We have support for MapForce, OpenText, Sterling, TIBCO and more. We're primarily focusing on migrating from legacy EDI to Boomi so that you can modernize your EDI infrastructure. Here's just a quick example of a cloud-based portal that this is implemented. We'll be given a demo later, but this allows you to upload artifacts and it will generate components, in this case, as you can see listed here, automatically in your Boomi account. So we support component generation for maps with basic source to destination mappings. Default values are captured, simple map functions, including lookups, string functions, date functions. And for some products, we're even able to generate multi-step user map functions. We also generate profiles, trading partners, process routes, certificates, and many others. We also generate process components and shapes, including basic start connectors, decisions, routes, and so on. We also generate connector and connection operations. And finally, we generate test harnesses for test-driven development. And when you're doing migration, having a TDD approach greatly will accelerate your timelines and your chances for success. So we're going to start with an example of the MapForce migrations we can do. So first of all, we can do automatic map generation. Now, a lot of you know that EDI is really about mapping. So in this case here, we were able to capture the profiles, and in Boomi, we have them on the left and right. We automatically captured simple mappings, default values, and we also generated functions or function steps. As you can see here, this is sort of what it looks like inside MapForce, and we are actually generating that from into Boomi. So just a handful of the map functions we'll generate. We can do date formats, numeric, string, lookups, like for database, XREF, as well as simple lookups. As you see here, all this was generated automatically. We can also generate user map functions. In this case, this came directly from MapForce, and automatically we laid out the functions and connected them and made it so that they did the calculations required as they were in MapForce. Here's a walkthrough of some of the things we do with OpenText Liaison ECS. So in this case here, we were able to generate 300 components in 7 minutes. This was done in a batch manner where we actually would batch bring in a zip file of all the artifacts and take all those artifacts and go ahead and generated maps, map functions, profiles, and many other things. And the process is run out of the box with up to 95% accuracy, but not always. But it gives you a great leap forward and head start in your timelines. And this can save hundreds of hours of development time if you can generate 300 map components, 300 components automatically. So basically in this case here, we generate a full range of EDI configuration, including the maps, the trading partners with the message type handlers and processes with maps. We generate process routes and certificates and so on. So here is the main listener process that we're able to generate from OpenText. In this case here, we see we generate the process route with routing on the trading partner as well as the message document type. And optionally, you can choose not to have all the trading partners in one shape, but in this case, we're just showing it all together. We're able to generate all these entries, including the handlers that have the maps contained. And in the start shape, we're able to bring in the company as well as add all the trading partners to the list in the start shape. We also were able to generate the trading partner itself. We automatically pull in the document types, and we are linking to Boomi out-of-the-box profiles. So we're taking the mappings and putting them into out-of-the-box profiles. We also go ahead and bring in certificates if applicable. And most importantly, we generate the maps. So in this case here, we were able to convert a positional flat file and generate a Boomi positional flat file from that. And we did use the Boomi out of the box profile. So we didn't generate profiles from OpenText, even though we could, but we have the option of actually using the Boomi profiles, which going forward is probably better for support. And for the case of OpenText, we generated code. We chose to generate scripting steps because the code is very simple. It's a lot of conditional logic, and bottom line, it really mapped well just to have simple code. And yes, code is not great for cost of ownership, but in this case, the code is so simple, I would say that it really doesn't impact the cost of ownership at all. And the key thing here is accelerating migration with test-driven development. When you are doing a migration project, you have the luxury of having a plethora of test data, including input data that's going into your existing production legacy system and outputs that are coming from that legacy system that have been transformed by the logic within. So by leveraging this to create test harnesses, you can go ahead and very quickly make sure that your test cases are working well and that your accuracy of your implementation of Boomi is 100%, so that when you roll over to Boomi, you will have 0 errors. And here's an example of a generated harness. This right here is the map that was created automatically. And what we do is we load that up with the expected EDI output, which we grab from production. And in this process here, we're going from XML to EDI. So we would grab the corresponding sample XML, which represents a use case from production. And then we go ahead and run that through, and we have a compare framework, which will do assertions. And then on the right-hand side, you'll see that we went ahead and generated a comparison. And in this case here, the output EDI is failing in just 2 fields. And we'll go ahead and report that comparison. Now, obviously, when you first start, you might have automatic generation of 50, 60%. But then you go through and do mostly things like add qualifiers and instance identifiers to actually go ahead and get it to 100%. Once you're really have most of your development done and your code complete, you can then implement this test automation. So you're getting a daily feed from production, and you're constantly checking to make sure the output from production is matching the output from the Boomi candidate release version. And you just let this run, and you might have 1 failure a day. You make a minor change. You'll then do complete regression testing to make sure that change didn't break anything else. And then you go ahead and keep that running against production. And after you go for 1, 2, 3 weeks with 0 failures and perfect matches, then you're very confident that you're ready to go ahead and deploy Boomi and rip out the legacy system. To start the demo, we're going to log into the cloud-based application. This is an application that has many DevOps capabilities. One of my favorite is the ability to visually compare versions of components so that when you deploy new Boomi processes to production, you can do a code review and know what you're really deploying. So I'm going to go ahead and sign in using Boomi credentials. And once I sign in, I can go ahead to the Migrate menu. And in this case, we'll start off by choosing MapForce. I'll go and browse the file system to grab an artifact. In this case, we'll grab this one right here. And once this button's enabled, that means you can now press and do the actual migration. So it's uploading the MFD file now, and we'll click on that. And once component generation is complete, you can see we generate a lot of map functions here. We also created a database connection, but let's just jump right into the process. So we'll go ahead and open the process that was generated just now. And just to keep us honest, I'll go ahead and show you the timestamp, and you'll see that is right now. We'll go ahead now and look at this process here. So this is generated as a test harness. We could also generate with listeners, of course, and trading partner connectors. In this case, we generate a test harness where the expected data that came from production is put in this shape. And the data that goes in production, the use case, if you will, goes in here, and we'll actually go ahead and run this. And it's going to go ahead and grab the expected data, store it, and then it's going to take the mock data through the map, and it will then go ahead and show the results here. Now this is running live, just what we generated, so this map is working out of the box. So once it's complete, it'll throw an error, which is not that nice to look at. So we'll go over here and actually refresh here. And you'll see what we're getting is a report showing the accuracy of the out-of-the-box migration. In this case, it generated correctly. 61% of the fields are matching. And if you go through here and look, actually, the fixes for most of these, I'll tell you, are just using qualifiers or instance identifiers in the left side of the map. But that was generated right out of the box automatically. Take a few hours to clean it up to get the 100%. Next, we'll go ahead and show you the liaison, open text liaison migration. So I'll go ahead here and browse into the folder that has open text stuff. And I'll grab, in this case, everything's put in a zip file. I'll grab the small one because it has to be able to upload. The large one has so many artifacts in, we run it as batch. So once the small one uploads, we'll go ahead and press the button here, and this will begin the migration. Once the migration is complete, you can see that a lot of components were generated here, including trading partners and the like, as well as cross-reference tables. These were extracted from different files in the artifacts. So here we're getting what's called code tables, which were included in the open text artifacts. And we can go ahead and look at the main listener. The main listener is what dispatches based on trading partner and document type to all of the handlers for those. So in this case here, this was generated. It's not very exciting when we have one trading partner showing up here, but in the larger migration, you would see all the trading partners showing up. We also generate a route shape, and what the route shape is doing is routing on the trading partner ID and the document ID. And if I go ahead and click here, you will see all the different routes. In this case, there's just two. So we're routing on the trading partner ID and the 850 document. If I go in here and drill down, you'll see the actual process that was created. And I can actually then go in and show you the map. So this was all generated with all the mappings. And as I said, this code is fairly simple. It's just translating the artifact that they have into very simple code. So this basically is the code that we translated from what was inside the OpenText artifact. Well, thank you for your time. And if you're interested, please feel free to reach out. Have a great day. Thank you.